on Halton News. I'm Jessica Kading. It's Friday, October 30th. Taking a look at our current COVID-19 cases, there are now 37 new cases reported since yesterday. When factoring in our recoveries, our new total number of active cases is now 247 across the region. And unfortunately, we do have an additional death to report today, that of a resident at Tansley Woods Retirement Home in Burlington, where there is an ongoing outbreak that has affected 43 people to date. Breaking down our numbers by region, you can see that Burlington has 66 active cases, Oakville 98, Milton 54, and Halton Hills 29. The outbreak at Post Village in long-term care has been declared over, leaving us with 4 open outbreaks in the region. Those are at Amica Georgetown, Chartwell Waterford, the Village of Tansley Woods, and Wyndham Manor Long-Term Care Center. There was a multi-vehicle crash on the QEW this morning near the Ford plant, and at least one person has died as a result. The collision occurred on the westbound lane at 8 a.m. this morning, involving a dump truck and a school bus with children in it, as well as other vehicles. It's not believed that any of the children sustained injuries. There is news in today from our federal procurement minister regarding rapid testing for COVID-19. MP Anita Anand joined me earlier to bring you those details.
That's right. It's really great to be back with you and see you again, Jessica. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about our rapid test numbers. We have procured 28.5 million rapid tests in total, and 1.6 million rapid tests have arrived in Canada, with 500,000 going to Ontario already. And so we are really well on our way on that front to supplement the existing testing regime, which is so important to do. Remembering that the testing regime consists of what we know as the swab-based testing, and that there are rapid tests which can be deployed in multiple different types of settings so that you can get results more quickly than the standardized model. It is up to the provinces and territories to decide where they are then in turn going to deploy the rapid tests. And so we should look out for that to see where the province of Ontario decides to put those rapid tests that the federal government has procured.
And while these rapid result tests have been long awaited, it is worth noting that Anand says they're not necessarily as accurate as the standard tests.
Well, let's remember that the gold standard is that standardized test that we all know and love so much. And so those are the most reliable tests. The rapid tests, and some of which are indeed also swab-based, but just have an analyzer on site where you can actually get the results more quickly, are less effective, but around the 90% mark. So it's ideal to be able to get the standardized test, but the rapid tests have been used in other settings. I don't know if you know, but there is a pilot project in Alberta that is being used at the border for rapid tests.
Minister Anand also updated us on the status of Made in Canada vaccine options.
Well, last week, the federal government was really pleased to announce another vaccine contract with a Canadian-based supplier called Medicago. And in particular, we announced 76 million doses under that contract that will be procured for Canadians. And so that rounds our portfolio to 7 vaccine contracts for a total of 358 million doses in aggregate in total, if Canada decides to utilize the options under those contracts. And of course, that decision would be made once we receive Health Canada approval for the vaccine, and once there's a decision about where these vaccines will be deployed and what segments of the population they are most effective with.
Yesterday, the provincial government officially adopted the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance working definition of anti-Semitism. We spoke with Rabbi Stephen Wise of the Sherry Bethel congregation in Oakville for his reaction.
Definition of anti-Semitism, one would think, is something that everyone would agree on, that it's hatred of Jews and putting up a swastika somewhere, or saying that Jews do this, or any kind of stereotype about Jews. All these are going to fall under this this specific definition of anti-Semitism. And there might be those who are trying to say that, well, just because I make a joke about Jews or I do something like that, it's not anti-Semitic. And when the countries of the world got together, it came under this the auspices of a conference about the Holocaust and remembrance. They said it's really important to define it. Let's every country in the world have the same definition. And that way we all understand what it is. And if someone is breaking it, we can very clearly identify that person and prosecute that person if necessary. And that's sad to say. You would think we could live in a world where there isn't hatred of any specific faith or any specific group of people, whether the color of their skin or the nature of their sexuality. But hate crimes in Canada are on the increase. And so our authorities need to have the correct tools in order to prosecute properly, and now they do.
Rabbi Wise now explains the official definition that has been adopted.
To be clear about what it is, this definition of anti-Semitism that has been passed by the province of Ontario this week. Quote, anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed towards Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community institutions and religious facilities.
He also explains why he thinks anti-Semitic hate crimes are on the rise now in Canada.
It's hard to understand, but the Jew throughout history has sort of faced this, that we have been this other people that people don't understand, that we have certain customs and rituals that seem strange to others. And instead of asking about it, instead of trying to understand who we are and what we do, there's this wall that gets put up. And that's what leads to hate crimes. When there's either you get taught something about another person, that you irrationally hate someone for whatever reason. And when you have hate in your heart, sometimes that leads to actions. And so unfortunately, we do see these crimes happening in Canada. It's not as bad as in other places, but I think it's small. But why let it grow? Let's get it while it's small, combat it. Let's try and reduce it right away and not let it grow into a major problem.
This was passed much quicker than a normal private member's bill. Rabbi Wise explains how that happened.
So this was a private member's bill, and usually private members' bills take a little bit more time, have to go through quite a few readings. And in this case, it went through a reading, a first reading, a second reading, and I was anticipating a third reading and going to committee. But what happened was, under the PC government, the Justice Policy Committee was about to look at it and hear more and more, even though it already passed twice and everyone agreed with it, they were going through the process. But there was an incident in Ottawa where the tomb of the unknown soldier was desecrated with Nazi symbols. And the province of Ontario said, enough is enough. Why are we waiting and reading time after time when everyone knows this is the right way to go? This is something we have to do. And so at the committee level, they said, let's just bring this to the cabinet and let's pass it. Why are we waiting? And so indeed, on whatever it was, Wednesday or Thursday, they just went ahead and passed it. And I'm so grateful to this government for taking that, what to me, a logical step, the right step, and passing it.
Rabbi Wise is now working with municipal and regional politicians to get the definition officially adopted locally. The Ontario Chamber of Commerce recently released a report called She-Covery, outlining the disproportionate economic impact that COVID-19 crisis is having on women specifically. Faye Lyons of the Oakville Chamber of Commerce explains.
The She-Covery project was an initiative that was driven by the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. And essentially, they saw a gap relating to the gender economic impacts of COVID-19 in Ontario. So they did a report and shared some of their findings and also some of the recommendations to the government moving forward to try to get women back into the economy and support them in that role.
I asked what factors have been attributed to the different experiences of men versus women during the pandemic.
So, well, some of the reasons that they found were the reasons why women were impacted more than men through COVID-19 was, number one, women are overrepresented that involve face-to-face contact. Women took on more of the childcare and homeschooling work. And quite frankly, women entrepreneurs face systematic challenges. Specifically, their businesses tend to be smaller and less well-financed than those of men. So those are some of the reasons. And what they did was they proposed some of the recommendations to the government in order to try to see if they could encourage women back into the economy. And some of those included even advanced women's reskilling, focus on the skills gap, set diversity targets and provide some financial support, address women's underrepresentation in the skilled trades and STEM sectors, and scale evidence-based programs along the career pipeline. Another one is actually to foster an inclusive ecosystem for entrepreneurs. And this has to do with offering support with financing, legal advice, digital literacy. That's really important as we move forward for all businesses, and access to export markets, mentorship, professional networking, procurement, and childcare.
You can read more about the She-Covery report online, and the Chamber is also asking the government to get involved, as explained here.
But I think there's a role for the government to play trying to encourage women back into workforce. And I think women do play a big part in the economic recovery. So that's the message to the government is let's try to support women as they return back to work after COVID-19 and support them because they do play a large role. And for the government, this is about economic recovery and economic growth.
There's a shuffle happening in Catholic school boundaries in the town of Milton. Melissa Candelaria reports.
The Halton Catholic District School Board's Milton Boundary Review Committee is making some changes to the school boundaries. Board trustee Patrick Murphy says they are looking to create an additional one to accommodate the new high school that was announced this summer.
So it's a boundary review relating to the area that will draw the catchment area that would be for that school. So currently that area is serviced by St. Francis Xavier. The Boundary Review Committee has come up with an area that currently has Our Lady of Fatima and Guardian Angel, which will now be in the Milton 3 catchment, plus 2 new additional elementary schools, which are slated to be built in the next few years.
So if you see beyond the roundabout behind me, it's the general location of where this new school is going to be built. But the problem is it's not going to be finished till at least 2024. So once the boundary is drawn, the question remains, where are these kids going to go to school next year? Murphy says the committee has been working hard to find a temporary solution.
We've tried to find somewhere where we could accommodate 500 or so students next school year and another 400 for a total of over 900 the following year before Milton 3 is constructed. So now that we know that we have funding for Milton Elementary School 10, and it can take us about a year to build an elementary school. We've already approved the expense through the board, so we're ready to build. Right now, we're waiting for the space template to be approved by the Minister of Education, which we believe is going to happen very shortly. And then from there, we need the approval to proceed from the Minister of Education. So if we get approval this November, we can have it open, weather permitting, by September 2021. Worst case would be December or January. So those kids would go for a short period of time. Those students would go for a short period of time to Pearson. And then we would occupy that school for 2 years until 2023 school year when Milton 3 would be up and running.
Now that the Milton Boundary Review Committee has their proposal ready, Murphy talks about what's next.
So the committee has come up with their proposal, which was presented to the public in a virtual meeting. There was a survey that closed on October 22nd. Our staff is currently compiling the results of that survey, and then from that, they're going to draft their plan, their report.
The Halton Catholic District School Board will be discussing and voting on this final report at their November 17th board meeting. In the meantime, another meeting is going to be set up in the next couple of weeks for parents who wish to make a delegation to voice any concerns or ask any questions. Just go to the school board's website for details on when those meetings will take place. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Melissa Candelaria.
Thanks for being with us here on Halton News. We do need to take a short break, but we'll be right back with a couple of prestigious awards that were bestowed upon two of our local teachers. Welcome back to Halton News. The Prime Minister's Awards were recently announced for teachers across the country. The Halton District School Board had 2 teachers recognized with these prestigious awards. Next week, we'll hear about Oakville's Robert Bernard, but today, Nikki Wesley reports on a teacher right here in Burlington.
Lakeshore Public Schools' Stacy Falconer recently won a Regional Certificate of Achievement for Teaching Excellence in the Prime Minister's Awards.
Which was super exciting because as far as I know, it's the first time a special education class has been acknowledged for an award of this magnitude, so it was very special.
During a time where there isn't a lot to celebrate, Falconer was thrilled to have this recognition. True to form, proving where her heart truly lies.
First thing I did, to be 100% honest, was get in touch with the kids. I told the tech dudes we had something to celebrate because they make me look good, right? So we worked together and I said to them, we've won an award. So that was the first thing I did, was reach out to the kids.
But what is this special class she's affectionately named Tech Dudes?
Dudes is a self-contained class. We have 8 students who all have learning disabilities. So they're working on ways to show their full potential using technology. So we have each other's backs all the time, and we're working to try and make strategies to make learning more successful and to find a passion for learning so that we can be lifelong learners moving forward.
Student Ryan Mohibi has been in the Tech Dudes class for the last 2 years.
I used to not learn much in my other class. I used to just sit there all day, but now I'm learning and zooming.
What did you think when you found out that you guys had won this award?
I wasn't surprised. I already knew it.
That is Stacy laughing in delight as Ryan continues to praise her teaching.
We can get helped in different ways. I understand the questions way more. In the way she speaks, it helps me understand.
Grade 5 student Lily Grinnell echoes Ryan's thoughts.
She's an awesome teacher.
Why?
We learn more things with her than other teachers don't.
Amazing teacher.
It's a chance to get the word out there about what a little class can do and what's possible for kids with special needs.
Congratulations, Ms. Falconer. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.
As we travel through Milton, you see beautiful blue skies there as we head into our weekend weather forecast. It's Halloween weekend, and yes, we are not anticipating any rain on Saturday. It often rains on Halloween, but sunshine is expected in our forecast, reaching 6 degrees in the afternoon and only down to a low of 4 degrees overnight. On Sunday, though, we are looking at those cloudy skies, 40% chance of showers, and then Monday, close your eyes if you want, but we are looking at the chance of flurries. Otherwise, a mix of sun and clouds at 5 degrees, and that sunshine will stay with us throughout the rest of our 5-day forecast. And now we'll look to how some of Halton's top companies performed on the markets today. Up next, we'll have Lisa Lisson, the president of FedEx Canada, on her upcoming appearance at From Wallet to Wealth. Stay with us. Welcome back to Halton News. I'm Jessica Keating. From Wallet to Wealth is a female empowerment event being held in support of Halton Women's Place, and it's meant to inspire and encourage you to be resilient, something our next guest, Lisa Lisson, the president of FedEx Canada, most certainly is. Her story is incredible, and she has a tremendous message to share. She joined us here on Halton News to encourage you to get involved at this year's event, where she'll be featured as a guest speaker.
Absolutely. I'm so thrilled to be a part of this event amongst 5 other fabulous women. And basically what we're going to be doing is sharing our stories of how we've dealt with some really tough things in our life. Like for me, I lost my husband. In fact, I did 3 eulogies by the time I was 40 years old. So we'll be sharing our stories of life forces that we face and how we found our resilience, how we grew stronger from it, in the hopes that we can help other women that are really dealing with tough challenges right now, that you can not only survive it, but grow stronger because of it. It's on November the 12th. All the proceeds go to Halton Women's Place, and Halton Women's Place basically really helps abused women and their children get back on their feet. Such a great organization, and we're really hoping all of you will join us on November the 12th to be engaged, empowered, and inspired.
I also asked why she felt it was so important to be involved in this particular event.
Well, I think it's so important because I just love helping women in any way that I can. I think it's important for women like myself and the other women on the panel to really share their stories of how they've really had some tough challenges in life and how we overcame them, to let people know they're not alone. And if they're sitting in the dark right now, we really want to share some light to help them know that they can get through this and get through it stronger than when they started. And for me, it does my heart good to help others in any way I can, particularly women.
And now for a closer look at those event details, Lisa Lisson is one of 6 incredibly inspirational women being featured at From Wallet to Wealth, all with their own unique stories of resilience and perseverance. The goal is to raise $30,000 through this event for Halton Women's Place. Once again, to get your ticket or learn more, visit wallettowealth.ca. Another way to support Halton Women's Place, the Zonta Club of Oakville is having a Halloween fundraiser. For those of you who like to buy in bulk, you can choose from a lovely selection of wines, knowing that 10% of your purchase price will support Halton Women's Place, as well as Savvis, Home Sweet Hope, and other women's organizations. I'd like to thank you so much for tuning in to Halton News tonight. We will be live at 5 on Monday. Until then, Melissa Candelaria will be in with your weekend edition. For Halton News, I'm Jessica Keating. Thanks for watching.